Hey everybody, Paddy here. Thanks for watching and listening to TFN, which is the effin' news. Now this is all positive news and stuff that can make our lives better. Today's great Kiwi is All Black Anton Lienert-Brown, and he is opening up about the crippling anxiety that he lives with. We also talk positivity with an amazing woman who doctors said should have been dead years ago. She's our good Kiwi. And a brainy Kiwi is here on what it's like to go big with an idea, then do a massive deal in Walmarts all over America. How good was the young fella who pranked the PM with the old, "You've got something on your shirt, whoops"? We meet him. And our Kiwi dream today is about flowers and business. And I say goodnight Kiwi to a mate of mine who died far too young. Now, our first guest made his All Blacks debut in 2016. He's played a whopping 79 games for the ABs and scored 15 tries. He's bloody exciting to watch, and I reckon he is one of the greatest All Blacks we have right now. Now, Anton Lienert-Brown is also a big part of the new NZ Rugby mental health and wellbeing initiative called Mind, Set, Engage. He's off to Japan, and the first test there is on Saturday, but right now he's here with us. Anton Lienert-Brown is today's great Kiwi. Anton, I promised you not to talk too much about rugby today. Are you okay with that? No, but
yeah, nah. I've consumed a lot of rugby this year, so looking forward to talking about something else.
Yeah, mental health. I mean, you've had your own problems. Are you happy to talk about what you've been through?
Yeah, for sure. I think when I got through the other side of my mental health battle and through my journey, I really wanted to share my lived experience, because I think when I went through it, listening to people talk about their struggles and tools they use to help get through it really helped me. So, yeah, I guess once I got through the other side and felt better, that's where my passion grew for talking about it.
Yeah, awesome. And it's good that you're about to do that. I mean, what were your mental health struggles?
Yeah, for me it was anxiety. It was sort of built up over, I guess, 2 or 3 years. I sort of probably pin it down to whenever I put myself in a place of judgment, I used to get massive anxiety, and funnily enough, I started professional rugby at 18 years old. So I was sort of put into a constant place of judgment week in and week out. And yeah, sort of through the years from 18 to 21, I probably didn't look after my mental health that well. I was striving to be the best rugby player I could be, and I was constantly, I guess, in the limelight or places of judgment. And over years, my anxiety got worse and worse, to the stage where, daily I was having constant panic attacks, and it got really difficult.
Wow. So what's a panic attack like for you? How would that manifest itself?
Yeah, I guess it spirals with, I guess, thoughts. For me, it was like around my heart, and I would just feel like it wasn't sort of beating properly, or it felt like I was more or less having a heart attack. Yeah, I guess with anxiety, it would spiral and spiral and spiral to the point where I would have a panic attack. And when I first had one, it felt like I was having a heart attack, but I wasn't.
Wow, so that must have been incredibly scary, freaky, or even beyond that.
Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah, it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't experienced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I sort of had a friend through high school who had, pretty severe anxiety, and he would talk to me about, his experiences, and I couldn't even understand it. I had no commonality to it, and I think until you experience anxiety or experience something similar, it's hard to understand. It's, I'm not sure, or you were spoken about your mental health problems before, but for someone that hasn't experienced anxiety, it's hard to explain. It's like, well, how can you get yourself into such a spin that you feel like you're having a heart attack. But it can happen.
Yeah, because it goes without saying, at this stage in your early 20s, you're obviously not going to be having a heart attack. You would have been incredibly fit. You're a professional athlete at that point.
Yeah.
So how did you realise that, hey, this isn't a heart attack, this is actually my mental health, this is an anxiety attack?
I guess when it first started, I thought I was having a heart attack, but an hour later I was still alive, so that helps. I'm still breathing. And then
that's one sign.
That's one sign. And then you get yourself out of the spin, and you sort of come right. But I guess when you experience like panic attacks, it's taxing. Like it's quite full on. For me, I used to get quite panicky about where I'd go because I was scared it could happen, like wherever. And for me, sometimes I could be in a team meeting and be having one, and just trying to act like normal. And it's crazy. Like people probably think, oh, like you're lying, but that's the honest truth.
I think people are going to believe you, mate. Yeah.
But like I become.
But that's what you'd feel.
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's what
it?
I'd feel.
Yeah.
I become very good at sort of hiding it, and like I said, it sort of probably had my first one when I was around 18. But by the time I was sort of midway through my 20s, or when I was 20, it become very frequent.
Like weekly, monthly?
Yeah, almost daily or every second sort of day. And that's when, like I was managing it, but that's when I sort of sought help, and it took me a long time to seek help. I should have got a lot earlier, but when it got too much, that's when I went and saw someone.
Yeah, and who did you see to help diagnose it, and who did you see to help you?
I went to a psychiatrist. So I think I told my team doctor at the Chiefs at the time, and he put me onto someone. It was just around Hamilton. So that's when I only went and saw him once. And the thing about rugby or life in general is, as you'll find, is you got a schedule, you got games to play, and you're constantly on the move. And I think for me at the time, I put rugby as the most important thing in my life. So even managing my mental health and how I felt every day comes second to that. When I had a week off, I went and saw the psychiatrist, and at the time he prescribed me with citalopram, and I started taking that, and fortunately enough, and 2-3 weeks later, I started to feel better.
Wow.
But I don't want to emphasise that medication's the one fix to mental health problems, because it's not. It was the start of my journey to getting better. Was seeing him and then picking up multiple tools along the way to help me.
Yeah, and here's a good point to say while people are listening, there's obviously no shame in seeking help from a doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist for your mental health.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I probably should have went and saw someone earlier, but I didn't, and I guess I'm like a lot of other Kiwi men out there, struggle to talk about your feelings, struggle to say that you need help, and if you say you need help, you feel weak. So I battled with that for years until I was probably just hanging on by a thread.
Wow. And how bad did it get? You say hanging on by a thread.
Like I said, I was I guess I had anxiety, and I wasn't necessarily does anxiety make me depressed, and it made living every day tough, but I'm not going to say like I wanted to live, like I wanted to be here, but it just made life extremely tough. And what I mean by hanging on by a thread was just my energy was zapped. I'd had enough. I struggled to get out of bed every day, just all that stuff. So and I guess when you're having multiple panic attacks a week, and it takes so much energy out of you. That's when I needed to get help. But you're also training every day and trying to play good footy on the weekend. Yeah, it was quite a challenging time.
Oh, it would have been hugely difficult, mate. And
Yeah.
did you have attacks like this in the All Blacks environment, or in, you know, around game time or anything like that in high pressure zones, or was it?
Yeah, it was that year was 2016, and it was quite a whirlwind year. I've spoken about this before, but it was when my anxiety and mental health was probably at its worst, but it was also when I made my All Blacks debut. So, you know, 3 weeks before, or 3 or 4 weeks before I debuted for the All Blacks was when I went and saw the psychiatrist, and that's when I literally, like, I was really, really battling. And when I went into the All Blacks environment, it was a little bit of an distraction because it was new, it was exciting. I was still battling with my anxiety, but it sort of helped me focus on something. Like I was literally living my dream, and then as well as citalopram was kicking in and making my brain a lot more calm and not spinning as much. So yeah, I debuted for the All Blacks, and just by chance started a lot of games and got through that year. And I'll never forget, we were in France, we just played France, and I'd been nominated that year for Young Player of the Year. I think it was Adi, Mario Toji and myself were nominated, and it was exciting. I was playing good rugby, which is crazy at the same time as battling this. But, you know, Wayne Smith said to me in the sheds of France, we'd just won, and he'll look me in the eyes and he goes, you know, like, you had a great year this year, but, you know, you can be better next year. Like, you should aim to be the best rugby player in the world. And I just nodded my head, and honestly, like, all I wanted to do was go home and just sleep and forget about rugby. Like, I was zonked. Like, I just...
Even though you were at that level?
Yeah. It was crazy, like, exciting. It was a dream, but by the end of the season, yeah, I had no energy left.
Wow. And do you still take the medication, or do you need to anymore? Or?
Yeah, I take a lighter dose, so it's escitalopram. Then I initially took, so yeah, I think it helps me manage, I guess, the stress and stuff like that. And for me, like, maybe I couldn't, but it's a little bit of a safety net, because I've sort of weaned myself off it before during rugby seasons, but the anxiety's hit me like a ton of bricks at times, and it's hard to get out of it when you're in it. So yeah, it's a little bit of a safety net for my rugby career, just to make sure that, yeah, I'm just, like I said, not hit by a ton of bricks with anxiety at once.
Yeah, sure. And what other strategies have you used to beat your anxiety?
Yeah, I think
or control your anxiety, or cope with your anxiety.
Yeah, I think I'm extremely conscious about my mental health, and I put a lot of energy into it. Yeah, just placing a lot of emphasis on it. Like saunas, ice baths help me heaps. A bit of meditation, and yeah, I think just sleeping well during the season is really important.
Wow. And just as we come to the end of the interview, you know, obviously working with Mindset Engage for New Zealand Rugby is a way of giving back to people who have their own mental health struggles. Going through what you've gone through, what advice would you have for Kiwis when it comes to their mental health?
Yeah, I guess if you are struggling, like, seek help. Like, put your ego aside and ask for help, because that will really start your journey to getting better. I know it did for me, and I think as well, like, one of the key words I learned on the other side of my journey, and like I said, probably the anxiety formed around like judgment. And you know, as Kiwis, like we have tall poppy syndrome, and it's hard for us to stand out or hard for us to speak out of turn. And along my journey, I picked something up, and that was from Lienert-Brown, listening to her TED Talk, and her podcast was around vulnerability, and that's what I sort of live by now. Is I try to put myself in places of judgment because I want to be vulnerable. And for me, it's not about winning or losing. It's, you know, if there's in front of the team, you know, it happens a lot. The coach might ask you a question, and a lot of boys don't want to get it wrong, so they won't say it. This is just an example, but like, say it, be vulnerable. Whether you're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. So that's probably one key word I've learned along the way.
Awesome, mate. That was brilliant.
Thanks. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Right, before we meet the cheekiest person in the country right now, I want to let you know that I've written a book. It's a memoir, and I'm going on the road doing 14 shows in 14 towns around the Motu this November and December. I want to bring some yarns, some laughs, and some positivity, and I want to meet you. Find out where I'll be, get some mates, and come along. You can go to paddygower.co.nz for tickets. Now, the first sign of spring came this weekend in Tamaki-Makaurau, Auckland. How good was the first game of our newest pro sporting team, Auckland FC? A 2-0 win in the first game. Banger. But even better, in my view, was something that happened on the sidelines. This guy called Jono was there as our Prime Minister was meeting people, and Jono asked for a photo. Luxon's a decent guy, and he was happy to stand by Jono and smile. Then Jono did this. He pointed at, touched Luxon's shirt and said, "You got something on you?" Luxon looks down, Jono flips the finger up, whoop, gives him the light flick on the nose. It's a super annoying prank, but it is one hell of a gag, and Luxon took it well. How good. This only happens in New Zealand. Nowhere else in the world do citizens periodically remind our politicians who works for who. Politicians are not above us. They are not above a prank. There are some countries where you'd get shot for trying to pull a stunt like that. Not here. Let's keep it that way. It's Kiwi as. It's open, it's friendly, it's cheeky, and it's a place where we remember we're all basically people the same as each other. It's much better than, say, for instance, just hypothetically, a government minister telling a worker at a place they're visiting that they are a loser and to F off, which of course wasn't hypothetical. It did happen this week. I'm now joined by Jono. Jono, how the hell did this come about?
No, it was just something in the moment, you know. Me and my friends were standing on the sideline and we saw the commotion down the bottom. We saw Chris and we thought what a cool opportunity that would have been just to get him. So I went down there, pushed my way through all the kids, and then was presented with the opportunity of a lifetime and executed one of the old tricks in the book and got him real good.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the oldest tricks in the book. What's it even called? The old sort of, you got something on your shirt? Sort of, does it have a name?
Something like that, or what's down there, mate?
The old what's down there, mate. And why did you think of to pull the what's down there, mate?
It's something me and my mate, we do all the time when we're out in the town, and, you know, you get a smile and a laugh about 98% of the time, and I think we're all quite glad Luxon took it quite well. So the man's got my respects, you know, pretty good.
He did take it well, didn't he?
Yeah, very well.
And have you had any blowback? Are you worried about the cops? Worried about the cops tracking you down, or his bodyguards, or anything like that?
I think I'll be fine. But you know, some of the comments on the TikTok and the Instagrams are quite hilarious and keep you entertained. But you know, we don't really care about that.
Yeah, no, good on you for having some fun. And you know, next time, watch out. I'll point out that you've got something. What's down there, mate? The old
you better be on your toes, mate. I'll see you in town one night, and I'll get you.
All right, you're an extra good Kiwi this week. Thank you very much, Jono.
Yes, thanks, Paddy.
Okay, now it's time for today's actual good Kiwi. Nyree Smith, who lives in Glendowie in Auckland, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer way back in 2017. Now, if you know anything about pancreatic cancer, it's one of the cancers in the gut, you'll know that you usually aren't diagnosed early enough to get surgery, and it's pretty tough to survive. Now, Nyree did manage to get surgery, and she's survived for 7 years now. And she's our good Kiwi today because she has put that time to bloody good use.
Hi, I'm Nyree. I have pancreatic cancer. I was diagnosed just over 7 years ago and was given 9 months. And I'm still here. No. And there's got to be a reason why. It is such a fast, aggressive, horrible, painful cancer that if I can give someone a shoulder and understand their journey, just as they understand my journey, that's what I do. It gives me hope. And the more I talk to and the more awareness I get out there, gives a cancer that had no hope a little bit of hope. Yeah. Don't make me cry. I don't cry very often. Most people, when diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, die within 9 to 12 months.
It's difficult to say this, but you shouldn't be alive.
No, I shouldn't be. I don't know why I've survived and why I am surviving. I mean, I'm still having chemotherapy. In fact, on Wednesday, it will be my 96th infusion of chemotherapy. 96th infusion. I talk with my oncologist and say, why me? What is it about me that I manage the chemotherapy better than a lot of people, that I'm still here, you know? And we talk about positivity. I mean, it's a big thing. I am very positive. So there's got to be a reason. And that's why if I can give back and if I can raise the awareness, if I can save one life, then that's the reason why I've survived this long. It is shit. Shouldn't swear, should I?
You're about to swear it's the f***ing news.
It's a f***ing horrible cancer, I tell you.
I'm Liam Willis, I'm the Executive Officer for the Gut Cancer Foundation. Nyree's an inspiration.
I know she's here.
Yeah, no, she's an absolute inspiration to go through the journey that Nyree's going through and to be able to stand up for people with pancreatic cancer and be the voice of people with pancreatic cancer in such a passionate, dedicated, consistent way over all these years is absolutely inspirational.
Learn about your body and don't be afraid to ask questions. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. So check it out.
Nyree is a good Kiwi.
Nyree's an amazing Kiwi. Absolutely. No, I can't think of anybody else that deserves that accolade more than Nyree does. What she's done over these years, the amount of money that she's raised, the trials that we're invested in because of the work that she's done, the awareness that we've raised, and the amount of people now that know about this disease.
I'm a Kiwi. I find it difficult to take compliments.
You've got to take this one.
Okay, I take this one. All right, thank you. Yeah. I'm a damn good Kiwi.
Yeah. Thank you, Nyree, for everything you do, and you really are a good Kiwi. Now, if you want to help Nyree's kaupapa, you can go to gutcancer.org.nz/donate. And if you know of a good Kiwi that you want to dob in who is making a real difference to the community, email me, paddy@tfn.co.nz. Now it's time for our Brainy Kiwi. Now, Brainy Kiwis make life better for all of us by solving the major and minor problems of our times. Now, booze is a problem that I personally have had a major problem with. And today's Brainy Kiwi started a company with a simple plan and a pretty cheeky name, actually. Lisa King from AF Drinks is sitting right here in the TFN studio. Now, Lisa, as always, you've got 3 minutes to answer 4 questions. But let's start by cracking open a drink. Because I've got the AF G&T. I haven't had a G&T for over 1,000 days, one with alcohol in it. Oh, sorry, cheers. I forgot they had to do that. I drink so little now. I'm very rude. Now, Lisa, what problem does your product solve?
Yeah, well, I think you said it, Paddy. There is a huge problem with alcohol. You know, we all know it. It's embedded in our everyday lives. You know, there isn't a social event, a celebration, a sporting game that doesn't involve alcohol. And I think, you know, it's just so constantly and readily available as well. Yet alcohol's been rated as the most harmful drug over illegal drugs such as cocaine and meth. And I think the problem is that we kind of tend to just ignore it, that we don't realise that it's bad for us, and collectively there really isn't an intention to do anything about it.
And how does AF drinks help solve that then?
Yeah, well, I think the solution is to create something that is desirable and genuinely cool as an alternative, and that's what AF is. You know, we wanted to make not drinking sexy and aspirational, and it was this world that everyone else is getting into, and you would feel like you're missing out if you weren't a part of it.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm missing out with my G&T at all. What one have you got?
So I've got a grapefruit margarita.
Okay.
And yeah, I think in the past when people weren't drinking, they kind of had to hide it.
Not anymore. You can just have one of these.
Yeah.
And how far have you got with this? How far have you got with this product?
So AF started 4 years ago in my living room. You know, we're now in all supermarkets in New Zealand. We're even on Air New Zealand during Kora Hour. So we have just under 40% market share of our segment in New Zealand. And then last year we launched it in the US, and we started out in 400 stores. This year we launched with the two biggest retailers in Target and Walmart, and so we're in about 3,000 stores in the US.
Target and Walmart, 3,000 stores in the US.
Yeah, we'll be selling just over 4 million cans of AF this year.
Cheers to that.
Cheers
to that. I mean, that's pretty big, but how big can this get?
Well, this category is worth $13 billion globally. So if you compare that to a category like kombucha, which was, you know, one of the fastest growing drinks previously, that's only worth $3 billion. And in countries like Germany and Spain, non-alc drinks are now about 10% of total alcohol sales. So you can see where this could get to really quickly.
It could be massive.
Yeah.
Okay, now for the first time ever, I've got an extra question for a Brainy kiwi. The F in AF, I mean, it's alcohol-free, or it could be curious AF, as curious as the F word. You know, have you had any problems with that? Because obviously I use the F word a lot in this show. You know, is that being a bit cheeky with the F word? Or
people think it's really funny, and, you know, sometimes they'll ask us, what does AF stand for? And we say, oh, alcohol-free. And they're like, you also know it stands for something else. And so we pretend we don't know, and they think it's a bit of a laugh.
Okay, well, I can't really pretend I don't know what the F stands for in TFN, because we all know it stands for Effin. Thank you very much, Lisa, and good luck with that. This really is the Effin news. Now, if you know of a Brainy kiwi who is solving either the big problems or even the small problems of the world, email me, paddy@tfn.co.nz. Now it is time for Good Night Kiwi. I've only been doing this a short time, and it is already time to say goodbye to a Kiwi I knew. His name was Rhys McDonald. A born and bred Southlander, Rhys gave everything for his province. That included helping raise over $1 million for the Rescue Chopper Appeal by helping organise the Chopper Ride, a bike ride from Queenstown all the way down to Invercargill every year, 235 kilometres in the cold. Rhys did it 10 times. That's how I met him. He roped me in to do it. He was so passionate about how the chopper saved lives. He told me about how it even saved his life one day after a heart attack. He wanted it to be there for other people so their lives could be saved by the chopper too. I just could not say no to the guy. It was bloody freezing and a bloody long way, but we had a lot of laughs along the way, Rhys and I, and we became great mates. It is an honour to call Rhys McDonald a mate. There's a lot we can learn from Rhys. He was a leader who used his leadership skills to help save the lives of others in his community. Rhys McDonald died aged 47 of an unexpected medical event. Good night, Kiwi. Now it is time for our Kiwi dream. Now, I've learned that if you ask any Kiwi what their dream is, it takes a couple of goes before people really come out with their actual dream. And they are usually quite beautiful. Like this one. What's Rocky's Kiwi dream?
Oh, to be free, to run through that park.
Yeah. What's yours?
I guess I'm doing it. I've been here 7 months in this little shop on Ponsonby Road, having my own business, you know. It's like, it's pretty up there.
And why was having your own business such a dream?
Because it was the only thing I could do. I was fired from every other job. I can't work for anyone else now. Yeah. No, I don't know. I just, to be able to be creative and do my own thing and have my dog. And
You're proud of yourself for doing it, for living your dream?
sometimes I think there's easier ways. But yeah, I am proud, you know. It's like, it's not easy. It's not a given, you know.
You like giving flowers to people, don't you?
Yeah, I do. In the 7 years that I've had my business, I've seen people go on first dates, getting engaged, getting married, first babies, you know, in 7 years, like to have that in my life and see, people go through love stories, relationships. It's pretty special.
So that's TFN, the Effin News, for another week, another dose of positivity and stuff that makes our lives better. Now, don't forget, I'm on tour all over Aotearoa, New Zealand in November and December. Get some tickets and come see me live. paddygower.co.nz, paddygower.co.nz. See you next week.